Hey all, XARTSTUDENT here. Today I'm going to try to make art based off of a book I just listened to. So the book I listened to is Between Two Fires. I was watching a Kathleen Illustrated video and she recommended this, and I heard the description for a different book and I thought that's what I was listening to, and it was completely different, but I really did enjoy it. If you're into angels and demons and that fight between, it's pretty good. There's a lot of great visuals, which inspired me to make some art. So the scene I'm trying to illustrate is when Tomas hears all of these animals screeching and crying, and then he realizes that he is also screaming as well, and he can't stop because of what he's seeing, which is the seraphim and the angel fighting. So I wanted to illustrate it because for some reason it just stuck in my head. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of this book was so visual, whether it was just creepy or interesting or mind-blowing. I could see it perfectly in my mind and was completely inspired. So as you can see, I'm using my vinyl cutter, but I decided to try something new. I kind of figured you could probably make confetti shapes like a bunch of butterflies or rocket ships or something using a vinyl cutter, and I've seen people do it with crickets, but I've never done it. So I decided to experiment, and this took a while. I was playing around with the speed and the force of my vinyl cutter to see what would actually cut through and what wouldn't. I wasted a lot of paper. I put vinyl I didn't really like underneath to kind of create that cricket mat that I've seen before, because I do not have that, because I do not have a cricket, and sometimes it worked. But then when I did more intricate designs, as you're watching, my vinyl cutter completely destroyed it, and I was really, really sad. So I kept trying, kept seeing what I could do, if it would actually cut or not, and I was having a lot of trouble, so I eventually gave up and went to Hobby Lobby and got one of those cricket mats that are slightly sticky, and I decided to try it out and see if it would even work with my vinyl cutter. I also quickly found out that I needed to line it up at the 1 so my vinyl cutter would actually reach the beginning point, and I hooked it in and it was actually cutting with my test piece. But of course I needed to adjust the force because I was experimenting the whole time, and of course it was a lot, but it started working. My only concern was with the thinner details, it got stuck to the mat, and I don't really know how to do this very well. But I do have the Cricut squeegee thing, and I saw in a video on YouTube that you could use that to peel things up. So I figured I'd be fine, and tried it out. Something I noticed while I was peeling up the paper from the Cricut mat was that it was really stuck on there. I think because of the pressure and the force of my vinyl cutter on the paper onto the mat really made it stick on. I had to be extremely careful when I used my little squeegee thing to peel up my thin lines, because the whole point of my piece was to get line work. And it was okay. This is definitely an experiment and I'm proud of myself for doing that. It took a while, not everything was cut well, not everything ripped off perfectly, but I'm happy that I tried it. And of course when I cut here, a lot came off because I have to think to myself, like, where are the connections? If you're doing vinyl cutting, where's the ending? What will stay? What won't stay? It's a lot of just thinking. The seraphim was way harder to try taking the little pieces out, like to weed it. I found I had to really hold on to each little section, and when it came to the tiny details, I didn't even take most of them out. I just poked them through and folded them underneath because there was no way I was able to get them out. This was definitely not a relaxing project in any way, and it was not very time efficient because I was like, oh, if I use my vinyl cutter, it'll be really quick. No, I just wound up wasting a lot of time. But I'm glad that I tried it because I would have never known. With bigger, simpler designs with less lines, it works really well. With the more intricate, not so much. But if you guys have tips for that, please leave them down below in the comments. I'd love to learn more because obviously I'm not a master at this. Now I'm laying them out on a piece of paper to see what composition works best. So then I can put some Mod Podge on it, glue it down, kind of seal it on there, and just have a final piece. And now that it's done drying and all cut out, let's take a look at those close-up shots. And that's my piece. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It definitely is a lot different than what I had in my mind, but I'm happy I experimented. And I guess that's what it's all about, just having fun, making art, and seeing how I can push myself in the future. If you'd like, check me out on Instagram, TikTok, Etsy, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you'd like, and I'm so happy you tuned in. Can't wait to see you next week. Thanks, bye!